Performance and Technical Analysis System. Notational Analysis to Improve Performance in Basketball by Bernard Ganchaki. Introduction and Objectives. In this presentation, we're going to be looking at and explaining the purpose of notational analysis in performance analysis and discuss the purpose of performance indicators. We're also going to introduce the notated video and the reason for choosing the performance indicator in that notated video and show the results found from the notated video and implement the findings into coaching process to improve the team's performance. First of all, what is performance analysis? According to Carling et al. 2005, performance analysis refers to objective recording and examination of behavioral events occurring during competition. It is also the provision of giving an objective feedback to the performance and trying to gain a positive change out of that feedback. Essentially, it is about telling the athlete what occurred opposed to what they perceive to have happened. The analysis can take place immediately following the performance or in a more controlled environment and depends on the performance analysis technique. Performance analysis is not just about analyzing matches and games. It is essential in the training program to help coaches improve players' performance, which will be talked more in depth later on in this presentation. Notational analysis is a technique used very often by coaches and is a technique used in this presentation. 15 years ago, there may have been only a few big teams that had performance analysis department, and now in this day and age, even the smaller teams will have performance analysis department. Next up, notation analysis. Notation analysis is by no means a new craze, as the concept has been around for a very long time and has held up very well and highly preferred by sports analysts when it comes to analyzing an improvement in sport performance. According to Durst 2010, notation analysis can be described as a process of recording, processing, and interpreting events that take place in training or competition. These recordings can be used to point out the critical events in the performance alongside quantifying the events in a consistent and a reliable manner. This allows for quantitative and qualitative feedback that is accurate and can be used in the coaching process for the further improvement of the team. Potential benefit of using notation analysis can be that it can be used to uncover tactical tendencies and strengths and weaknesses that may have been overlooked previously. These strengths and tendencies can be pointed out and used in the coaching process to further develop the players where they are needed instead of developing them in the same process every time. However, with the benefit, there are also some potential drawbacks, like having distorted information and results. For example, player A has a shooting percentage of 50%, while player B has been shooting in the shooting percentile of 75%. Which would the coach conclude had a better game? It is not possible to say without considering some additional influences. Player A could have been taking higher amount of shots while also taking key and important shot, while player B could have been taking less shots. And let's move on to performance indicators. According to Hughes and Bartlett 2002, performance indicator is a selection or combination of action variables that is used to define some or all aspects of sport performance. These indicators are established by coaching staff or the analyst and are used to assess the performance of an individual or the team. These performance indicators should relate to successful performance for a successful outcome. There are some basic indicators that could be something like shots on and off the target, while having more details like having possession in a certain area of the court or the key or using the post. Notation analysis have generally focused on three main indicators, which are tactical, technical, and match indicators. Moving on to coaching process. According to Cross and Lyle, the coaching process is the purposeful improvement of competition sport performance, which is achieved through a planned program of preparation and competition. According to Cushion 2009, they also argue that the improvements to coach education and coaching practice depend on a sound understanding of the coaching process itself. The coaching process involves the coach identifying area to improve for the team or the athlete, and this is where the video analysis or the notation analysis comes to play. This allows the analyst or the coach to find an opportunity to find an area to improve for the team and the athlete. The key things to remember for coaches to find this area to improve is observation, analysis, evaluation, feedback, and planning. The coach needs to observe the area to improve, analyze and evaluate the area, and give the athlete feedback and put them in the right state of mind to improve on this, and then create a planning process that is developed around that um, area to improve. Next up, you have performance indicator. Performance indicator chosen here in this presentation is drive to the basket. According to Lorenzo et al., basketball has been one of the most analyzed sports through notation analysis. This is due to the game being so heavily surrounded by plays created by the coach, so it's easy to point out where the play went wrong or where the play went right. Also, the reason Drive to the Basket was chosen was because one of the main aspects of the game itself is being able to create spaces, and one of the ways to create spaces is using the ball dribble. This was taken out of Lamas et al. 2011. Moving on to Game Breaker. Game Breaker. According to software itself, Game Breaker is a software created for video analysis. It is used by coaches and analysts to capture code, edit, and then analyze the video and import and export the video to create a database of notes. This way, the coach or the analyst can give key feedbacks or key and accurate feedbacks to players so they can put that feedback into practice to improve the athlete's performance. As you can see here, a code window has been opened up with codes which has been filled with key performance indicators alongside a timeline and a video, and each time a key performance indicator occurs in the game, it has been coded as it is visible in this timeline right here. Moving on, from the findings, I found that both teams were able to drive the basket successfully and create good shots out of it. Furthermore, the team that rode close to the basket less were more successful at creating good shots out of it. Right here you can see the possession, and you can see the Bulls had more possession than the Celtics by 2 possessions. First thing on the Bulls drive, from this chart you can see that out of the 55 possessions, they drove to the basket only 12 times. And out of those 12 times, you can see here that they were successful 92% of the times, and only 8% of the time there were no productivity. Let's look at Celtics drive. From the 50 possession, they drove to the basket 26 times. That's twice as much as the Bulls, and that's nearly half of the possession. And out of this, they had 81% of the time they created good shots out of it, and 90% of the time they had no productivity, showing that this was very good and the reason they exploited it so much. Up next, you can see I focused on one player's drive, and that's because 50% of the time Celtics drove to the basket was this player, and out of those times he had 43% of shots created and 7% no productivity. This could be due to the coach telling him to drive the basket, since he's such a athletic and raw player with not a really good shooting percentage, but has very good vision on the court. Results showed that both teams were successful at driving to the basket and creating good shots, but Celtics exploited the defense much more. The players from the Bulls are known to be more athletic, and has a player called Derrick Rose who is very athletic and is very good at getting to the basket, so it's surprising that they didn't exploit his talents much more. Next up is a couple of more video clips that can be analyzed. Alright, let's look at the picture and see how they create a good shot. As you can see, from this guy driving to the basket has collapsed the defense on 4 people on him, leaving 2 people under the basket open and this guy wide open because his defender is helping in, and that's how it created a good shot. Next up is another clip that shows how it created a good shot. Right here, you can see how him driving to the basket has collapsed the defense again and has left him facing him and needing to help the defense and leaving him wide open. Also, it leaves the guy on the top open, 2 guys on the top open, because they're all attracted to the ball. Up next are 2 more video clips that shows how driving to the basket can create great open spaces. Right here you can see them constantly driving and passing is collapsing the defense and having them to switch, creating a very good shot for a score. Up next is another video clip that shows the same thing, where driving to the basket and constant passing just creates a good shot every time. Right here you can see how to implement this into coaching process. First, you can see you can give them feedback from their drive to the basket and create open shots, and set them goals and specialized drills in the practice. For example, if I was to coach the Bulls, I would say that they have to drive to the basket 4 times or 5 times within a quarter, just to increase the amount of times they drive to the basket. Or I would say they have to do 5 passes before shooting, or 5 passes before driving to the basket, to keep the ball constantly moving instead of having the players be static and standing around waiting for someone to do something fantastic and create something good. Lastly, the reference page. The reference page used in this presentation will be linked to Mahara web page. Thank you.